Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. Today we're kind of going to be doing part 2 on this Squier Affinity Strat 2000 model. Done the last video on it if you want to go back and check it out and kind of catch up. But either way, we're going to be bringing it all in here today. So the first thing that I want to do is change the tuners from the standard Squier tuners that were on it to to go to inline vintage style tuners. So and I need to quit saying the standard tuners use the piece that slides down through the headstock that threaded. So it uses like a 10 millimeter hole versus the old style that use like an 8. So, the ones that come with these, they're just too loose in the holes. So I have these converter bushings. So when I installed them, went to put the tuners in, the shafts on the tuners are 6.3 millimeter. These were 6.2 millimeter. So I had to drill these out bigger. They're still a little bit tight, so it may be a little interesting getting them in. I think they'll go in okay. But the chances of trying to find converter bushings and I think uses just a little bit odd sized. I'm not sure. But I have had issues with the converter bushings with Goda tuners before. Actually, the inserts they sent me on another set I had were the wrong size, and they had to send me the correct ones. So the way the old tuners fit in is they have the little knots or whatever on them that go down in these holes that hold them in position. I don't want to fill these holes because if I ever decide to sell this or whatever, or if I sell it to somebody else and they want to do whatever, you can remove these tuners and just replace the old ones or place the old ones back on it. But with these, we're going to have to drill some new holes for the screws. And like I said, it may be, this one went in fine. It went in fine. So, being as how I had to drill those out, and I wasn't maybe the best perfect straight drill person, but I think they're going to go back in there. Always something, it seems like, that doesn't line up, doesn't fit, and you just have to kind of roll with it and do what you have to do to make it work. But I think with the white body with the white tuning buttons or whatever is going to look pretty cool. All right, now it's just a matter of lining everything up, drilling some holes between them. That one's off just a little bit, but they could have been off a little bit when they done it. So when they get our straight edge here and try to line everything up as best as possible. It's looking pretty good. So I'll go ahead and drill these holes, get these screws in, and then we can move along. Okay, we're about to get done with this. Everything working out pretty good so far. Get everybody down tight. And there you go. So that's our tuners, and our bushings look like they stayed in good and tight. So that's everything turns good and free. So that's that much done. Okay, let me move all this stuff around. We'll get back to the next part of it. Got our neck back on. Got our strings run through our trim. Gonna do some Ernie Ball 10s. And these go in the top of the tuner. Now, I don't know, everybody pretty much knows the drill, but go two posts past where you want to be at, then cut it, come back, run it through the hole. There we go. All right. And wind it up. Now, while you got a view of the body in the other video, I actually had talked about something being different about this pick guard, and so far I don't think anybody's commented on it. Of course, I don't know how many people even watched it, so but there's something different about that pick guard, something about the pickups that is different from most strats. And I was trying to see if somebody would notice it, pick up on it. Oh, these tuners are smooth. This guitar didn't have a shim in it when it came here. The action was pretty high. But we changed the trim, changed the style of saddles, all of that stuff. So, we may have to put one in it, we may not. But I didn't put one in it to begin with. All right, maybe I'm in frame somewhat with this. We've got our, let's just start from the beginning. What we done, changed out the stock pick guard with all the electronics. We've got the GFS trim with the steel block, just 2 springs right now. See how it works out. Got CTS pots, 250K, 0.047 capacitor, a 3-way fender switch, and we've got the Fat Pups, Fat Little Wings custom wound pickups, all with vintage wire. We have our Goda classic style tuners got a little finish on the neck, kind of made it look a little bit better. You know, got my goofy emblem on here, temporarily, because I'm probably going to refinish the neck a little better. So that's, I've got the frets leveled, polished, the ends done, the fretboard rolled. But we got our bone nut in, which still has to be, I've still got to take some time to get the first fret action where I need to be, get that nut polished and trimmed up, shaped up like I want it. A good setup. Probably going to have to put a shim in the neck because the saddles are where they're at right now, and we are high, very high. We're like 9/64 on the low E and 8/64 on the high E. So we got a slide guitar. So probably got to put a shim in. Otherwise, these adjusters are going to be sky high and probably still won't be enough. Put a shim in the neck. Get all that set. Then do the nut. Get that first fret action. Get everything set up on it, and it should be straight. But anyway, you can get a little. Let's do a black star, just clean. It's out of tune. It's really out of tune, and it's also going out of tune because the nut's so high. So it's all got to be set in, worked in. Probably do a video on that, and then once we get it really playable, we'll get to see how these, the Fat Pups pickups, what they're all about, because this is the first set of those that I've done. But I think with the Arctic White, putting the big block in, the Goda tuners, and like I said the other video, I put quite a bit of money into a little, Strat. It's kind of a low-end guitar, but it's got the alder body, 9.5 inch fretboard radius, medium jumbo frets, and I use a 42 millimeter nut on a 40. That way I can trim the edges down and get better string spacing up here. That way it's not so crowded, but you still have room to where your strings aren't going to fall off the fretboard. So that's a little trick I do to make those a little more playable over the standard nut. So anyway, we kind of, other than a real good setup, which is going to take a little time, we're getting real close. But we'll be another video, follow up when we get this thing all set up, really get to play it a little bit. So anyway, the only problems we ran into last video, had the clearance out just a little bit where the block was. The new big block, had to make just a little more room in there with a Dremel, just a slight amount of room. And then the converter bushings were 1 millimeter too small, and I had to size them up a little bit to get these Goda tuners in. But they feel really good. I think they look good with the white buttons. I mean, this is not a bad little guitar. But there's nothing that I put on here that I can't take off of it. If I decide to put it back in stock, just the way it came, then it's no problem to do that. And I can move these parts on to a higher level guitar or whatever I want to do. So anyway, I hope this was kind of a somewhat interesting video. Appreciate everybody subscribing. If you hadn't subscribed, consider it. We're soon to be in the shop out here. Gonna work out there tomorrow and try to get a lot more done on it. And hopefully before the leaves are green on the trees, we'll be out there. We'll be a whole lot better. So Anyway, guys, I appreciate it. Until the next time, see you.